The movie opens in the year 1999 with a pilot named Petty, who walks into an old shop that sells toys and antiques. Petty wants to return a toy monkey he once bought for his kids, but the shop owner is taken aback by his appearance, especially the blood-soaked clothes he's wearing. When the owner asks him about it, Petty explains that the monkey toy is cursed. Every time it beats its drum, someone dies in a gruesome way. As they're talking, the monkey suddenly starts drumming on its own. The shop owner tries to brush it off, saying, "See? Nothing happened." But right after he finishes his sentence, a mouse inside the shop gnaws through a string tied to an old axe hanging above. The axe falls onto a knight statue that's holding a crossbow. The impact causes an arrow to fire, piercing the shop owner straight through the stomach. He dies instantly. Petty, horrified and overwhelmed with rage, decides to burn down the entire shop to destroy the cursed monkey once and for all. Years later, we learn that Petty vanished, leaving behind his wife Louisa and their twin sons, Bill and Hill. No one knows where he went. We then see Bill standing with his brother as Hill begins to narrate. He tells us that Bill is only 3 minutes older than him, but acts like he's 3 years older. Hill even admits that he sometimes imagines smashing a bowling ball over Bill's head while he's asleep, just to finally be rid of him. When Hill asks their mother about their father, she always says he disappeared without a trace. Eventually, Bill and Hill return to their childhood home to claim something their father left behind, as they've now come of age and are his rightful heirs. There, they find the monkey toy locked inside a box. A note attached to it urges whoever finds the toy to wind it up and see what happens. Curious, Bill grabs the toy and winds it up. The monkey smiles, raises its hand, then suddenly stops moving. Disappointed, Bill turns to Hill and says the toy must be broken, then hands it to him. The next day, Bill and Hill go out with their nanny, Annie. Hill brings the monkey toy along in the car. On the way, Bill argues with Annie about where they should go. Both boys want to visit the amusement park, but Annie insists on taking them to a Chinese restaurant instead. She promises they'll love the food. At the restaurant, Annie is clearly impressed by the chef, who dazzles with his flashy knife tricks. There's obvious chemistry between them, even to the point where the chef carves a heart shape out of the food just for her. But then, suddenly, the monkey starts drumming again. Although it's far away, Hill hears the drumming loud and clear. In that exact moment, the chef, mid-performance, slips and accidentally strikes Annie with a knife, decapitating her instantly. Shocked and horrified, Bill and Hill have no idea how to explain what just happened. At Annie's funeral, Hill sits in silence, consumed by grief and suspicion. He can't stop thinking about the monkey toy. He's sure it's connected to what happened. After all, he heard the drumming just seconds before Annie died. Trying to move on, Hill returns to school, still carrying the monkey in his backpack. When his classmates see it, they mock him. Even Bill joins in, laughing along with the others. But Bill doesn't stop at teasing. After class, he and some of the boys buy a bunch of bananas and pelt Hill with them. Humiliated and furious, Hill goes home, seething with anger. That night, he confronts the monkey toy. Speaking directly to it, Hill confesses that he knows it caused Annie's death. He heard the drumming before she died. Then, driven by frustration and resentment, he begs the monkey to kill his brother Bill, saying he's had enough of the torment. Hill winds up the monkey, waiting anxiously to see what will happen. The toy begins to drum. At that exact moment, Bill walks into the house and starts talking to their mother, who is in the kitchen preparing dinner. Suddenly, without warning, her head explodes. She dies instantly in one of the most horrifying ways imaginable. At her funeral, Hill reflects bitterly. He tells us the monkey kills by its own will. It doesn't take orders. He's tormented by the question, why did the monkey kill his mother instead of Bill? Later, doctors explain that their mother died from a rare, extreme neurological event, an intense seizure that caused her brain cells to rupture. A condition so rare, it's almost unheard of. Still, Hill is overwhelmed with guilt. He knows deep down that he caused it by activating the monkey. Consumed with remorse, Hill smashes the toy with a cleaver and throws the broken pieces into a trash bin, hoping to be rid of it forever. Afterward, Bill and Hill are sent to live with their Aunt Ida and Uncle Chip. Hill explains that Chip despises children, unlike Aunt Ida, who warmly welcomes them with open arms. When Bill and Hill arrive at their relative's house, it becomes clear that Bill is deeply grieving their mother. He loved her with all his heart. Suddenly, Bill hears a strange noise coming from the bedroom. He follows the sound, and to his shock, finds the monkey toy inside the closet. Furious, Bill storms out and accuses Hill of bringing the cursed toy with him. But Hill insists he didn't bring it. He tells Bill he destroyed the toy and threw it in the trash. He also warns him that the toy is cursed with a demonic spell that kills people. A few days later, Hill tells us that Uncle Chip went on a trip into the woods. While he was sleeping there, a stampede of wild horses trampled him to death in a gruesome way. His body was crushed beyond recognition, mangled like ground meat. Horrified, Bill and Hill conclude that the monkey must be responsible. Determined to end the nightmare, they lock the toy in its box and throw it down an old well, hoping to bury its curse forever. 25 years have passed. By now, both Bill and Hill are adults. Hill reveals that he and his brother drifted apart over the years. He also tells us he got married and had a son, whom he named Petty after their father. But there's sorrow in his voice. He's been living apart from his wife and son for years. He only visits his boy once a year, fearing that the monkey's curse might still be haunting him and could hurt his family. Worse yet, he never told them the truth. As a result, their relationship fell apart. To them, he's just an absent, irresponsible father. His wife eventually divorced him and married someone else, someone she could rely on to raise their son. This breaks Hill's heart. He wants to tell them the truth, but knows they wouldn't believe him. On top of that, he's plagued by nightmares. In one dream, he sees his mother with a blood-covered face, blaming him for her death. In another, the monkey toy lifts him out of bed and hurls him into the same well where they threw it 25 years ago. In yet another dream, the monkey is chasing him with a meat cleaver, ready to finish him off. Hill tells us that he's finally figured it out. The monkey only kills people it considers evil. Annie, the nanny, died because, despite pretending to care, she never truly loved Bill and Hill. Instead of taking them to the amusement park like she promised, she took them to the restaurant to meet the chef she was secretly seeing. As for Louisa, their mother, the toy killed her because she always favored Bill over Hill, ignoring Hill completely. And Uncle Chip? The monkey ended his life because he hated children and never wanted Bill and Hill to live with him in the first place. Meanwhile, we cut to Aunt Ida, who wakes up in the middle of the night to strange noises in the house. Alarmed, she grabs a pistol and follows the sounds, which lead her to the basement. She slowly descends the stairs, searching for the source. But she finds nothing. Just as she's climbing back up, the stairs collapse beneath her. Ida falls into an old chest filled with fishing gear. She screams in agony as the sharp fishing hooks pierce her face. She rushes to the bathroom, her face bleeding and disfigured, and begins yanking out the embedded hooks while crying in pain. Then she disinfects the wounds with alcohol, wincing from the sting. At that moment, Ida catches the strong scent of gas filling the house. Alarmed, she heads to the kitchen and leans closer to the stove's burner to sniff and locate the source of the leak. Suddenly, a flame erupts from the stove. Because her face is still covered in alcohol from treating her wounds, the fire immediately ignites her face. Ida screams in agony and bolts out of the house, her face engulfed in flames. She runs blindly into the wooden post holding the mailbox in front of the house, striking it with full force. The impact is fatal. She collapses lifeless. We return to Hill, who goes to pick up his son, Petty, from his ex-wife. It's time for their biannual visit. But Petty is upset and distant, hurt by Hill's absence and how little he's involved in his life. Despite this, the boy agrees to go with Hill on a trip to a hotel outside the city. Hill wants to bond with his son and take him on an adventure exploring the surrounding mountains. That night, Hill gets a shocking phone call from his brother, Bill. Bill tells him that Aunt Ida is dead. Even more disturbing, Bill confides that he believes the cursed monkey toy is behind her death. He explains that, just like everyone else who died while the toy was around, Ida died in a freak accident, pure coincidence, or so it seems. But the pattern is too familiar. Hill is horrified. The timing is too perfect. He starts connecting the dots, his aunt's bizarre death and this tragic accident. He becomes convinced the monkey toy is back. Someone must have found it and activated it again. Determined to uncover the truth, Hill takes Petty and heads to his late aunt's house. There, they meet a woman named Barbara. She's a government-appointed property agent in charge of managing the estate after Ida's death. Barbara knows that Hill and Bill are the legal heirs, and she tries to manipulate Hill into selling the property at a low price so she can profit from it. But Hill isn't interested in her games. He only wants to know if the monkey toy is in the house. Things become more alarming when Barbara tells him that ever since Ida died, there's been a string of mysterious deaths around town, all classified as accidents. That's when Hill becomes sure the monkey is back, and it's somewhere in this town. He asks Barbara directly if she found a monkey-shaped toy among Ida's belongings. But she shrugs and says she doesn't remember. They start searching the house for the toy. As they investigate, Barbara opens a door, but behind it, a rifle is precariously balanced. It slips, falls, and discharges a bullet straight into Barbara's head, killing her instantly right in front of Hill. He stands frozen in shock, horrified by the gruesome scene. The police arrive shortly afterward and take Hill's statement about the incident. While the investigation is ongoing, a man with long hair covering his face appears outside the house, watching silently as paramedics carry away Barbara's body. This mysterious figure is revealed to be Ricky, a childhood friend of Bill and Hill from the time they lived with their aunt. Ricky is now a private investigator and has been following Hill ever since he returned to the city. Ricky then goes to inform Bill that Hill is back in town and is staying at their aunt's house with his son, Petty. At this point, the story flashes back to explain what's really been happening. After Bill and Hill originally threw the cursed monkey toy into the well, Bill secretly returned. He climbed down, hoping to recover it, but the toy was gone. All he found was the key that winds it up. From that day on, Bill became obsessed. He spent years searching for the toy. He even hired Ricky to help track it down. Eventually, after their aunt's death, Ricky managed to find the monkey toy among her belongings. That's when Bill wound it up. His intent was clear, to make it kill Hill. Bill believed that Hill had caused their mother's death. In his mind, the toy had only acted on Hill's wishes. But things took a dark turn. Ricky, having discovered the toy's deadly powers, wanted it for himself. He shows up at Bill's house, demanding the toy. Bill refuses, reminding Ricky that he already paid him for his help. Ricky offers to return the money in exchange for the monkey, but Bill adamantly tells him to leave and never show his face again. Furious, Ricky returns to his house. He digs out his late father's police uniform and retrieves his gun. He's out for revenge. But instead of going straight to Bill, he confronts Hill, holding him and his son at gunpoint. Ricky forces Hill to drive to Bill's house. When they arrive, Ricky tells Hill to send Petty into the house to retrieve the toy, claiming there's a dog flap in the back door he can crawl through. Hill refuses to involve his son in this madness, but Ricky threatens to kill the boy. Reluctantly, Hill agrees. Petty sneaks into the house and comes face to face with his Uncle Bill, who warmly greets him. Unaware the boy knows nothing of the dark history between the brothers. Bill seizes the opportunity. He decides to trick Petty into winding up the toy, hoping it will now target Hill. He lies, telling Petty that the monkey was a family heirloom and giving it to him as a gift. Petty winds it up, and the monkey starts drumming. At that exact moment, Hill, still outside in the car, notices a massive beehive in the tree across the yard. Suddenly, a swarm of bees bursts out, smashing through the car window and swarming Ricky, filling his mouth and throat. He dies screaming as the bees overwhelm him. Panicked, Hill rushes toward the house, shouting for his son. Bill hears his voice and realizes Hill is still alive. Enraged, he urges Petty to wind up the monkey again, but the boy, now wary, refuses. Bill shoves him aside and grabs the toy himself, trying to force it to work. But strangely it won't. Frustrated, Bill shakes it violently and tries to manually make the monkey drum. He screams, demanding the toy kill his brother. Suddenly, a burst of energy explodes from the monkey, hurling Bill backward. The toy starts drumming furiously on its own, like it's enraged. Bill stares out the window and sees a massive fireball falling from the sky, crashing into the city and engulfing everything in flames. The ceiling of the house caves in, and charred corpses begin falling around him. One hangs grotesquely from a rope. Just as suddenly as it began, the chaos stops. Hill arrives inside. Bill, battered and terrified, looks at his brother and confesses. He says he knows Hill is the reason their mother died, and that's why he wanted the monkey to kill him the same way. But Hill doesn't respond with anger. He tells Bill he doesn't blame him for feeling that way. Then, quietly, he reveals the truth. He never meant for their mother to die. In fact, when he activated the monkey all those years ago, he had hoped it would kill him, not her. He had been depressed, hurt by their childhood, and overwhelmed by loneliness. With tears in his eyes, Hill apologizes and forgives his brother. The long-held hatred between them finally begins to dissolve. But suddenly, the monkey starts drumming again. Hill looks around, confused. Then he notices something strange. He's standing in a very specific spot inside the house. It hits him. Bill planned this. Knowing his brother would eventually come, Bill, ever the prankster since childhood, had rigged the house with a series of deadly traps, just waiting to be triggered. As the monkey's drumming speeds up, one trap sets off another, until finally, a small homemade cannon fires a bowling ball straight across the room. But instead of hitting Hill, the ball ricochets and slams directly into Bill's head. It happens in an instant. Bill's head is crushed. His body drops lifelessly to the floor. Hill stands there, stunned. He looks down at the bowling ball, the same object that killed his brother, and realizes Bill was trying to trick him right up to the very end. The entire reconciliation was a setup. Bill had lied when he said he'd let go of the past. The monkey toy, now still and silent, seems to have made its own judgment. The next day, Hill is sitting in the car with his son, Petty. The chaos is over, and they're finally safe. As they drive, Hill begins to tell Petty everything. The truth about the monkey toy, about how it had haunted him and their family for years. He admits that the reason he stayed away all this time was to protect Petty from the curse. Petty listens quietly, and when Hill finishes, there's a long pause. Then Petty smiles. He's not angry anymore. He understands now that his father never stopped loving him. He was just trying to keep him safe. Hill looks at his son with pride and says, "We're not going to throw the monkey away." Petty nods. "We'll keep it, but we'll be careful." They drive off into the distance, the monkey toy quietly resting in the back seat, silent for now, but never truly gone. And that was our film for today. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.